The Vox video. Took you long enough? Yeah, shut up. I did some actual research. Ready? Let's go.
Might be the most
The most important graph ever. Yay. Anyways, let's. Jesus Christ. I can't speak. Another episode of Idiot News Network debunking, because apparently that's what Snopes does. And Snopes is now gone. All hail the king.
this might be the most important chart for understanding American politics.
What is it? Don't know. Don't care. But I'm skeptical.
The ideology of both parties in Congress over the past few decades.
Okay. Let's just let him make his point.
Researchers looked at every politician's voting record and then gave them a score based on how extreme or moderate they were. And if you look at the past 40 years, something dramatic has happened. Both parties have moved away from the center, but Republicans in Congress have moved much further than Democrats have.
Okay, points over. Also, the center, perfectly reasonable. Perfect. It's just. It's amazing. Standard of which you can measure political bias, because the censor hasn't shifted ever. Please tell me that a moderate Democrat would believe that it is moral for someone to get an abortion simply because they don't want to take care of their baby. And I'm not talking about like the oh, I got raped. That sounds insensitive. Thank you, script. Um but I'm talking about like, oh no, I can't use a contraceptive. I'm talking about those kind of abortions. Are you telling me a moderate Democrat would support that on demand, or gay marriage? I was about to say gay rights. Are you telling me that? Because if so, um, look at the 40s. Anyways, on economic, political, and other grounds, the conservative movement generally either stays where it is, or goes further to the right. This is only politically. Socially, on the other hand, well, the center may as well just go up and down and up and down. Plus, the argument that the Republican Party has become more right wing need to be examined very closely. Example Here's a great example that was very easy to find. Why? I don't know. Immigration. Republicans have, guess what? In the 40s, wanted the doubling of immigrants in the country per year. Sounds pretty progressive, right? Pretty modern. Till you realize the amount of immigrants coming in was nowhere comparable to the amount of legal immigrants. Not even counting illegal immigrants, which wasn't a problem back in the 40s, or at least from what I could find. So, in summary, on certain issues, the center has moved to the left, and the right generally sticks to its original position, making them seem more extreme because the center has moved to the left. Also, addressing the claim that politics have gotten more conservative, it's basically like going into a plane and then saying, hey, the ground's getting farther away from me. Makes total sense. There's some famous Einstein experiments that explain God. Okay, you know what? Enough quantum mechanics.
Difference is even more jarring if you look at the past few presidents.
So it goes from Truman, who's rated at like a 0.35 or something like that, or maybe even a point, yeah, 0.35. Then goes to Eisenhower, who's rated at a 0.3. Then goes to Kennedy, who's labeled more like a 0.5. Then it goes to Johnson, who's labeled like a 0.35. Then it goes to Nixon, who's rated at like a 5.7. Then Ford to around 5.5. Then to Carter, who is around 5, who's around 5. Then Reagan, then Bush, then Clinton, then Obama. Funnily enough, Obama is rated the same as Truman. Yeah, I guess they both did get us into wars that we didn't need to. And they tried to, socialize the steel industry. So, hey. Anyways, let's continue with this.
Is even more jarring if you look at the past few presidents. Republican presidents have become more and more conservative over the past few decades, while Democrats have stayed fairly consistent.
Wow. Wait, what's this? Breaking news? Truman shut down a railroad strike by threatening to draft everyone into the military if they didn't stop the strike. He also stated that illegal immigration was occurring at an alarming rate. Also, can you tell me with a straight face he supported gay marriage openly? Like he would physically say, "I support gay marriage. In fact, gays are better than straights." Are you kidding me? Do you think he would support the idea of a person being transgender? No. Seriously. Truman was probably on the economic left. At this rate, I don't even know. But are you seriously going to say that Truman, on today's standards, wouldn't be called Republican? Oh god, let's continue.
Have a name for this. They call it complete nonsense.
They call it, yeah, that's what they call it. Text-based tantrums. But here's what they call it, apparently.
Full polarization.
So, of the polarization. Let's continue.
Trends in recent American politics, but it's also one of the hardest to talk about, and that's posing
Why? Why is it so hard to talk about?
a big challenge for journalists who want to stay neutral while covering a party that's increasingly going off the rails.
Which one? Well, if Republicans are going off the rails, what about the political party that openly encouraged riots? God, let's continue.
Many of us recognize this is not the Republican Party I joined 40 years ago.
What happened to the Republican Party?
Oh, I've been asking myself that question. It's soul crushing for me.
Let's just address the soy boy in the room.
Ooh, Maza, self-deprecating.
I am not a great person to be making this argument.
Wow. Maza is a soy boy. Jesus Christ. I don't know why I put like a high falsetto harmonic voice. And YouTube's probably only going to be like, this video is unavailable because it causes damages to the brains. Wow, watch this.
Tree-hugging atheist with immigrant parents. Me criticizing Republicans is about as shocking as Vox having marimbas in the background of a video.
Those are fake marimbas.
So, I brought some
birds.
backup.
I'm Norm Ornstein. I'm a political scientist. I've been think tanking it for longer than most of the people watching this have been alive.
Norm
Wow, okay.
Ornstein is kind of a legend. He spent the past 4 decades writing about Congress and American politics. He's been named one of the top 100 global thinkers. I used to win debate competitions in high school using articles that Ornstein wrote.
And I won debate competitions by analyzing economic views, political views, and other possible social views. Then I wrote them all down in a list of arguments. Then I considered which ones that could poke holes through, and I continued to research that until I did. Don't believe me? I had a stupid assignment about diamond debates. One of the main arguments for the opposing side was that I was pro fake diamonds or synthetic diamonds. One of the opposing sides was that we weren't eco-friendly. My response was, while it might true we are not as eco-friendly as we would like to be, you're as less eco-friendly. Even if we use the same amount of electricity, which is nowhere near power human work or any sort of thing, there is no guarantee that you will get a diamond of the quality we are almost guaranteed to get. How do you poke a hole in that one? Oh, well, you still use too much energy. Okay, you're the pot calling the kettle black. Anyways, I came up with that argument myself. I'm proud of it. Oh yeah, I also guess I win debates by talking at my microphone when you can't respond. Mama says this is the way, boy. Oh no. Former idiot, stop. Also, another thing, you're saying he's a centrist by listing out your biases and then saying, so I brought some backup, implying that he's an objective source. I've seen no evidence that he is, and his only credibilities are that he's a thinker. Where did that list come from? And how was it validated? Moving on. And he also helped you win a debate. Anyways, moving on. So I just want to check his Wikipedia page. Okay, born, citizen, occupation, political party, Democrat. Oh wow, how objective.
Of Ornstein's work has focused on how to make sure that Congress stays functional.
Great job, you did an amazing job, stellar. Let's continue.
Very closely with a lot of Democrats and with a lot of Republicans.
And then, in 2012, Ornstein and his writing partner Thomas Mann write this book. It's even worse than it looks, how the American constitutional system collided with the new politics of extremism. In it, they write,
Wow.
The Republican Party is an insurgent outlier. It has become ideologically extreme, scornful of compromise, and dismissive of the legitimacy of its political opposition. Yep.
Okay. Sure. Wonder what this is gonna be. Why'd you worry? Awkward pause. Oh wait, what's this breaking news? The Republicans have just declared that Joe Biden is not a democratically elected president and that Russia has interfered. This has been happening for the past 3 years. Don't mind logic. What's this? The Republicans also dismiss their opponents as conspiracy theorists and all right? They conspiracy theorists and all left. Let's continue.
Polls have become more extreme over the past few years. In 2006, George Bush was talking about immigration like this.
There is a rational middle ground between granting an automatic path to citizenship and a program of mass deportation.
Compare that
to Trump.
To Donald Trump.
You're going to have a deportation force.
How?
Also, how are these two sentences completely different? He never said, there's going to be an automatic path to citizenship. You can bring anything. He said there's a reasonable middle ground. You're implying that there is no border enforcement agency. So, you're being dishonest. Also, Bush created ICE. What are you saying? Let's continue.
70, a Republican president created the
Nixon.
Environmental Protection Agency to regulate pollution.
These problems will not stand still for politics or for partisanship.
Now,
Wow.
Republicans campaign on abolishing that same agency.
We are going to end the EPA intrusion into your lives.
End the EPA intrusion into our lives. Now, this could either be literally getting rid of the EPA. What's this? This video was produced after Trump was in office, and he didn't get rid of the EPA. He just softened the rules and is actually using hyperbole. No, that's impossible. I actually am appreciative of him just discussing policy and not, the center, or whatever the hell it is. I'm sorry, but this is called cherry picked.
Even the Republican obsession with tax cuts is a relatively new phenomenon. Reagan is worshipped as a tax hawk now, but he
Oh wow.
actually raised taxes 11 times during his presidency.
Now, it's almost like I could disprove this in a single sentence, but I'm stretching this out into a long run-on to increase watch time, even though this video is 15 minutes and 11 seconds. Also, isn't there like a word that we use? Something onyx? Something no, whatever. Also, under Ronald Reagan, the individual tax rate went from 70% to 28%. Real great. Yeah, okay. But we can't focus on that. He increased the tax from the 28% unwillingly. In general, and I'm not denying the claim that he increased it 11 times, but in general, he decreased taxes. So, no, you can't claim Ronald Reagan increased taxes 11 times, implying that the tax rate actually went up. Vox, you're dishonest again. Wow.
Pay more in taxes than the bus driver, or less.
Reagan and Trump.
Wow. Reagan and Trump agree. They agree that the millionaire / billionaire, which Trump is, should pay more in taxes. That's interesting. Oh wow, it's almost like both of them cut taxes for the rich and the bus driver.
That ideological shift isn't a huge problem, as long as the two parties still work together.
Why?
What do you mean work together? Why should the two parties work together? If one's so extreme, why would we want to work together? Breaking news! Democrats now want Republicans to literally become Democrats. But seriously, why? If one party is an evil Nazi party, why should the opposing party work with them? The answer is they shouldn't. Okay, let's continue.
Republicans have gotten less and less willing to work with Democrats on anything.
Oh wow. Imagine saying Democrats have gotten less and less willing to work on anything with Republicans. Wow.
How often the filibuster was used to block a vote in the Senate. When Republicans aren't in power, they're more willing to stop Democrats from getting anything done.
Yeah, that's
Same do the Democrats. Plus, that's the point of a filibuster. One, to actually increase partisanship, and two, to make sure you don't just have a 50 split. Would you like just Democrats to go, okay, you beat us. Here, take your bills. No, you would like them to filibuster the bill. So, yeah. Let's continue.
Republicans aren't in power, they're more willing to stop Democrats from
Oh wait,
getting
shoot. Okay, here we are.
wins the presidency in 08. That year, Democrats won both houses of Congress. And in a normal world, Republicans would have taken the L, reworked their campaign strategy, and focused on the next election.
normal.
Wow. Well, why? Why wouldn't they have some resistance? I mean, if they could, why wouldn't they? I mean, wouldn't that fit their political beliefs the best, and fit what their voters want? Oh, it would. Well, no, we can't do that. Democrats. Let's continue.
Mitch McConnell came out and said this.
Our top political priority over the next 2 years should be to deny President Obama a second term.
Oh no! Nancy Pelosi would never say anything similar to that. No! Who would say that? She must be some kind of evil conservative.
Except a second term for Donald Trump.
In 2013,
Wow.
they actually shut the government down.
Yeah. Real tragedy. They opened it back up. Continue.
Obama's budget before they even saw what was in it. They really
Wow, it's almost like it was full of tax cuts and things that they wanted. They really should have considered that.
should have given it a chance. I'm sure.
Oh god, let's continue.
There's Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland.
Republicans flat out refused to meet with Obama's Supreme Court nominee for months. Not because he was too liberal, Garland was objectively a centrist.
Prove it. Prove it. Because I prove he's not. Well, Merrick Garland's not very outspoken on this position, therefore he wouldn't have an incentive to clarify it. We do know some controversial court cases. Specifically, one case that outed his bias when he refused to answer the question whether or not he would prosecute illegal immigration crimes. It is illegal to enter the U.S. illegally. It's illegal to do something illegal. Did you know that? But Merrick Garland wouldn't respond. Why? It's not very controversial. It's a law. So what other than a liberal bias could be stopping Merrick Garland, the Supreme Court nominee, from answering the question? Couldn't be a liberal bias now, could it? Oh god, let's continue.
Republican to fill the seat.
Oh, wow.
Wow, they wanted a Republican to fill the seat? Which party would ever do that? It's not like the only reason that Kavanaugh and Barrett got onto the Supreme Court was because there was a Republican majority. No. Actually, maybe it is. I wonder if they accused Merrick Garland of rape or said he was racist because he adopted black children. I really wonder if conservatives said that because he was, liberal. I wonder if they also said, he shouldn't serve because of his religion, or say he had sexually harassed someone. Oh wow, let's listen to the War Turtle.
To take up a nominee.
You ever watch someone's soul wither away mid-sentence? The thing is, if
Yeah, I have, Freddy.
Hillary had won the election, many Republicans said they would have kept the seat open permanently, preferring
There, I just watched it.
to have an incomplete Supreme Court than let a Democrat appoint a justice.
That is not normal behavior by party leaders.
Yeah. Okay. Not normal behavior, sure. What you're supposed to do is harass your opponent for weeks and ruin their reputation with character assassinations and false rape accusations. God, let's continue.
Ornstein's book was his attempt to get neutral observers, including journalists.
Neutral observers.
Wow, neutral observers. Continuing.
Party that I would say has gone rogue, and I don't say that as a partisan.
No, you're a partisan. You just don't say it as one. Okay, that was the most... No, you.
Admitting that fact makes you sound like a liberal hack.
Sound like a liberal hack. Speak for yourself. Oh wow, if you look at the comments, you'll see that. Oh, that's interesting. Let's continue.
Talking about asymmetric polarization, by definition, means you treat the two parties different. Talking about
Yeah, okay. Sure. And talking about asymmetrical polarization competently means you take social issues and different events that might have shaped conservative or liberal views, and adjusting for other bills that might have contributed to this trend. Who cares? Wow.
being accused of liberal bias.
This is
being accused of liberal bias.
Tough for media to do.
Tough for media to do because sure, that's what our media is guilty of. Not having a bias, just complete and utter, just, well, nobody's at fault. It's both people. Yeah, really. You should turn on CNN and let's continue.
Fights as just bitter disputes between two parties that can't get along.
A stalemate
Wow.
now exists as both sides dig in their heels.
Yes.
Both sides. You know, only if one side would compromise, say the Democrats, then the system would completely work. But no, neither side will compromise. So, if you're complaining about this, why don't you take the example, why don't you encourage to try to pass some conservative bills for in exchange for passing some other bills. Let's see how that goes, Mazza. Oh god, let's continue.
For this impasse, both sides playing politics.
You saw it during the 2013 government shutdown. Republicans literally held the government hostage to undermine Obamacare. But instead of pointing that out, a lot of coverage blamed both sides for not compromising.
With both sides digging in, we are now in
Yeah, so why don't you compromise? Good question. Well, exactly. You won't.
uncharted territory.
Both sides refuse to budge. Washington is a dysfunctional town, and there's plenty of blame to go around on both sides.
Both sides.
Both sides? Who would want to say that? A centrist. Wow, man. Let's continue with Fox.
Understand why it did happen. They demanded ransom just for doing their job.
But the media's affinity for that both sides frame meant that even those comments got criticized.
President Obama playing the blame game.
Playing the blame game. The blame game continues.
This kind of knee-jerk neutrality.
Yes.
Knee-jerk neutrality. Really, that's what our media is. It's so knee-jerkly neutral.
Knee-jerk neutrality. That's what.
Let's continue.
And who's responsible for breaking our politics?
If you are monomaniacal and
Monomaniacal.
you ignore a reality where there may be one side.
And the scary thing,
there may be one side, which is why one side has to compromise.
About asymmetrical polarization is that it forces the other party to play hardball too. When Republicans refused to vote on a huge number of Obama's judicial appointees, Democrats changed the rules.
Democrats voted to lower the threshold to break a filibuster from 60 votes to 51 votes.
It's time to change the Senate before this institution becomes obsolete.
Wait, the little.
What? The sweethearts? The centrists? The middle of the Democrats? They changed the rules? God.
Necessary response to an unusual situation.
But the Republicans.
Yeah, but the Republicans. Yeah, okay. But the Republicans failing to compromise, not a necessary response.
Hated by Republicans. But that decision to change the rules has haunted Democrats for years. As tensions flared over Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court, MSNBC's Casey Hunt blamed Democrats for starting the problem.
Yeah, it was the.
Wow, it was the Republicans. Because it was the Republicans who started the, let's accuse the Supreme Court nominee of rape. Let's continue.
Started with the Democrats and Harry Reid when he took away the filibuster for those circuit court judges, and it got lower when Mitch McConnell did it for the Supreme Court.
Oh, wow.
Wow, it's almost like actions have repercussion.
Time goes on.
Because the left.
Oh. Why? Because the two parties will become more extreme as they react to each other. Both parties are at fault. Oh my. What a revolutionary idea.
Move to the extreme, the more Democrats are going to seem obstructionist in response.
Oh.
Okay, obstructionist, sure. Okay, sure. Yeah, they aren't obstructionist, guys. They just seem incredibly obstructionist.
Look at this filibuster graph again. Every time Republicans raise the stakes, Democrats react by matching them.
Oh, hey, look at my.
Wow, look! I have a chart. It's politicians accusing Supreme Court nominees of rape. Oh wow, it looks like 100% of the time Democrats do that. Wow, doesn't that seem kind of obstructionist? Wow, let's continue.
Democrats are doing punching back, tit for tat.
Neither side here has clean hands.
There seem
Wow.
to be no grown-ups in charge.
And what that does is it means that people who behave badly get off the hook.
Yeah, sure.
Stop saying others
Okay.
are bad. That lets people. Stop saying we're bad. That lets people who are bad off the hook.
Wow, let's continue.
And it's easy for them to say, hey, the other side is worse.
The only way
The other side is worse, though.
to discourage this kind of norm-breaking behavior is to be really clear about who's causing it.
But what if it's a combination of two sides causing it? The political center moving to the left, the social center moving also to the left, and conservatives seeming more extreme due to previous factors and new unlisted ones. Also, it could be a response to something else, meaning it's just escalating, meaning both sides are at fault. No, we can't do that. But you can't do that with Democrats, because that's false neutrality. Let's continue.
Both sides are equally bad.
Maybe I will. End of video, bye.